Hello, and welcome to this demonstration of Epicor's LaserCat 3 electronic catalog, today featuring the OE products. First, a few words about the OE database. OE, of course, stands for original equipment, and the numbers that are used in this database are the original equipment numbers. So the vehicle manufacturer has numbers that they assign to the parts to the vehicle, and those are the part numbers that are using the original equipment manufacturer part numbers. Our database is sourced from Motors Information Systems, and we license that database from them. The OE data we get from them is generally pretty good from about 1980 up, and is spotty before that. So before 1980, you may see some OE part numbers for certain vehicle systems, like the brake system or the filter systems, and not for other systems, like chassis or exhaust. So it's kind of spotty before 1980, but after that it's generally pretty good. Epicor is prohibited by contract from displaying the aftermarket and OE part numbers on the same screen. So to get around that, we use another tab, and I'll show you that in the demonstration. There is no cover-to-cover information available for the OE products at this time. So you will not see photographs of the parts, specifications, installation instructions, technical bulletins. That sort of thing is just not available to us right now. The most recent OE numbers are provided, along with one previous iteration of the OE number. This is sort of important because for anybody that knows OE numbers, they get superseded pretty regularly. So it's important to know that what Motors delivers to us in this database is the most recent OE number available. We have one previous iteration of the OE part number they also send us, and we have put that in our interchange product. Also, another important part is that Epicor strips out all the spaces and punctuations from the OE numbers. Effectively, we compress the OE part numbers. We do this because in some of our systems, our part number field is 14 characters, and some of the longer OE numbers, like BMW and Mercedes-Benz numbers, use a lot of spacing or dots or dashes. And it gets us longer than the 14-character field for us, so we strip out all the punctuation. And what that means is if the customer carries their stock under the OE part numbers, then they must also have compressed part numbers or they won't match up. So if they stock their part numbers using these spaces and dots and dashes, then in order to get their inventory to connect with our database, they will have to set up some pointer records, some alternate numbers, and point them to the OE numbers in order for that to work out. Okay, well, let's get into some of the demos then. OE Carry Forward, which we abbreviate by the acronym OECF, is a product that we've had out there since 2011. So this is an established product. And in this product, we don't actually display the OE number, but we use the OE database to project forward or carry forward the aftermarket part numbers into later model years. So if a manufacturer shows coverage for a certain part in, say, the 2012 model year, but they don't show that coverage for that same vehicle in the 2013 model year, and we notice that in the OE data that number for the 2012 and 2013 model year in the OE data is the same part number, then that part that the aftermarket manufacturer lists for the 2012 model year can be projected or carried forward to the 2013 model year based on the same OE number being used in both years. And let's see what that looks like. This is the LaserCat 3 opening screen. And I'm going to do a lookup here, a new lookup. And I'm going to look up something pretty recent. So let's look at a 2013 Ford. I'll look up an Edge. And I'll use the 6-cylinder 3.5 liter engine. And we'll look up some filters. And here on this screen, you can see that we put a little note in here that this is not manufacturer data. This data is derived from OE, and we suggest that you match it to the original part. Always a good idea. As you can see on this screen, all of these parts have been carried forward by our OECF program. So none of these manufacturers showed coverage in the 2013 model year for this Ford Edge. Another thing you can see here is that there's an OE part number reference, and you'll see that in the OE data on nearly every single record. There's at least one part number. So that is the OE number that we use to carry this standard motor product number forward to this model year. And the same for the rest of these. We use this part number to carry forward this AC Delco number. And that's the concept behind OE carry forward. There are separate DVDs for this database. So if you update your LaserCat by using the CDs or DVDs that we send you, in order to get this OE carry forward product, you have to have the right data set. So on the silk screen right on the face of the DVDs, it says with Epicor OE carry forward. So that's how you'll know you have the right data. If you update your data on your LaserCat by using our FTP service, then you still have to make sure that you get the OE carry forward data. There's no extra charge for this, so just ask to have that data sent. And that concludes the discussion of the OE carry forward product. OE for parts not found, which we abbreviate by the acronym OE number 4 PNF, is a product that we have built out of the OE database sourced from Motors Information System. In this product, if no member of your MCL has the coverage that you're looking for, so if you're looking for a certain part description and no members of your suppliers have that part description, you can hit a button in LaserCat that'll bring you to the OE parts, and you can see the OE part numbers for that coverage. And let me show you what that looks like. Once again, here we are at the LaserCat 3 opening screen, and I'll do a new lookup here. And this time, I'll look up a 2008 Toyota Avalon. There is only one engine, so it pre-populated that. And we'll look at the engine filters. And here we have a lot of filters. And now I'll hit the OE search button right here and see if there is a part description that is not carried by any of my manufacturers in my MCL. And there are some parts here. So this is a Toyota number that I've looked up. So these are the Toyota vehicle. So these are the Toyota OE part numbers, and they are compressed. Normally there would be a dash in between the 5th and 6th characters in these part numbers. So that's the concept behind OE for parts not found. Once again, if no member of your MCL shows the part descriptions that you are trying to look up, you can hit the OE search button and see if there's an OE part number. Now that OE part number that displays can be keyed into our interchange product to see if some other supplier that is not a member of your MCL does carry that coverage. And if so, maybe you could special order it for the customer from that other supplier. Or if there's just nobody in the aftermarket that supplies that part, maybe you could pick up that part at a dealer for your customer as a service. Or maybe you could send that customer to the dealer, since that's the only place they can get that part, with the part number in hand to shorten the lookup at the dealership when they do that. So it's a way to keep your customers a lot happier than just saying that I don't have the part. And that's the concept behind OE for parts not found. So let's move on to another one. Another product that we've developed out of the OE database we call Part Expert OE. This one's a lot easier to explain because it's just what you think it would be. It's the Part Expert catalog, only it displays the OE part numbers instead of the aftermarket part numbers. And let's see what that looks like. Let me go back into here. This is the screen that I was on for OE for parts not found. And this time I'm going to start on the Part Expert OE tab rather than the Part Expert tab. And I'm just going to do another lookup here. And I'll go back a little bit here and look at a 2006. Let's look at a European import this time. So let's look at a Volkswagen Passat with the 4-cylinder engine. And let's look up some fuel injection parts. So here is all the parts in the fuel injection section. These are the Volkswagen part numbers here. So it's basically just the Part Expert catalog only displays the original manufacturer part numbers. I'll scroll through some more of this stuff here. Let's look at emission parts. Got lots of parts here. So that's the concept behind Part Expert OE. Now, Part Expert OE, like OE for parts not found, is a hosted database. So this data is not on the media that we deliver. When you do a call for this information, it comes over the internet to our servers here at Epicor, and then returns over the internet the call that you made. So this is it's a cloud product. It's a database that we host. Now, for Part Expert OE, there is a pricing difference depending upon if the customer is primarily a part seller or if the customer is primarily a repair outlet. So by primarily, we mean if over 50% of the customer's business is selling parts, then they're a parts seller. And if over 50% of their business is repairing vehicles, then they're a repair outlet. And that concludes our discussion of the OE products. If you want to reach out for more information, you can call the phone number on the screen here, or you can log into automotive.marketing@epicor.com.